I never thought a Tuesday evening could change my life forever. The day had been ordinary, uneventful, and deceptively calm. My wife Laura had been acting distant for weeks, brushing off my questions with vague excuses about work and fatigue. I'd noticed the subtle shift, the hurried text messages, the late-night calls she'd quickly hide when I walked by, the way she'd laugh a little too loudly when she was talking to someone on the phone. I had tried to ignore it at first, telling myself I was being paranoid. But deep down, a gnawing suspicion had begun to eat at me. That evening, I came home from work early, hoping to surprise her, maybe spark a connection that had been fading for months. The apartment was unusually quiet. Her car was gone. My gut tightened. Then I heard it, a voice in the kitchen, low and angry, and another one responding in equally tense tones. I crept closer and saw him. Her affair partner. A man I barely recognized from the few times she had mentioned his name. He was tall, muscular, and there was a cold calculation in his eyes that made my stomach turn. And in his hand, a metal pipe glinting under the kitchen light. "You need to let her go," he said, voice steady but menacing, a tremor of warning beneath the calm. "If you don't, this won't end well for you." For a moment, the world went still. My heart hammered so hard I thought it might break through my chest. My mind raced, weighing every possible move. Escape? Call for help? Confront him? But I also knew him, knew his temper, his pride, the way he wouldn't back down. And more importantly, I knew my wife had chosen this man over me, at least for now. I raised my hand slowly, keeping my voice steady. "Look," I said, trying to mask the fear twisting through me. "Whatever this is between you and her, it's over if it's violent. Let's just talk." He sneered, a cruel smirk crossing his face. "Talk? You've already lost. She's mine. And you're in the way." The pipe shifted in his grip, a subtle but unmistakable threat. Every instinct screamed for me to run, but my mind clicked into something sharper, something colder. He thought he had the upper hand, that fear would control me. But he had no idea just how far I could go to protect myself, and the life I had built, even if my marriage was crumbling. I took a careful step backward, keeping my eyes locked on him, measuring every muscle, every twitch. "You think threatening me will solve anything?" I asked, voice low but firm. "It won't. You don't know me." His grip on the pipe tightened, and I could see the tension in his shoulders. "I know enough," he spat. "She chose me. You have no say in this." The anger that had been simmering inside me for weeks surged up. Betrayal wasn't just a word. It was the knife twisting in my chest, the sleepless nights, the constant gnawing feeling that my life had been stolen while I was distracted by work and routine. I had loved her, trusted her, and now I was staring down a man who had stepped into the space I had created for years, demanding I step aside. I took another slow step back, glancing around the apartment, noting the layout, the obstacles, every potential escape route. But I also noted something else, the arrogance in his stance, the overconfidence. He believed fear would paralyze me. He believed I would run, beg, or submit. And that belief, that smug sense of superiority, would be his downfall. "You don't scare me," I said. "And you shouldn't be here. Not in my home, not threatening me. Leave. Now." He laughed, a harsh, hollow sound that echoed off the walls. "I think you misunderstand," he said. "I'm not leaving until she comes with me. And you're going to make that happen, or..." He raised the pipe slightly, enough for the threat to be clear, but not so much that he seemed careless. My mind was racing, but I forced myself to breathe slowly. Panic was a tool he expected me to wield, fear. But calmness, clarity, calculation, that was my weapon now. I couldn't let this man dictate the terms. I couldn't let him win. "I'll give you one last chance," I said, voice cold, deliberate. "Go. Walk out of this apartment right now. If you don't, you will regret it." He paused, studying me, sizing me up. For a split second, I thought he might actually leave. And then his sneer returned. "You think I'm scared of you?" I didn't answer. I didn't flinch. Instead, I took another step, positioning myself between him and the door. This wasn't just about protecting myself. It was about reclaiming control, about making him understand that my life, my choices, and even what remained of my marriage, were not negotiable. The standoff stretched for what felt like hours but was only seconds. Every muscle in his body screamed readiness. Every instinct in mine screamed calculation. I could see the adrenaline coursing through him, the slight twitch in his jaw, the way his eyes darted to the pipe and then back to me. He wanted to provoke a reaction, to make me act irrationally. I refused. Then, almost instinctively, I shifted my stance, closing the distance between us just enough to unbalance him. He lunged slightly forward, threatening, but in that moment I saw the weakness, overconfidence. With one swift motion, I grabbed the pipe, twisting it from his grasp and sending it clattering across the floor. The metal rang against the tile like a bell, a symbol of the end of his intimidation. He froze, disbelief crossing his face. "You." I said. "Leave." I interrupted, my voice steady, unyielding. "Now." He hesitated, weighing his options, the reality settling in that I was not a man to be manipulated, intimidated, or coerced. Slowly, deliberately, he backed toward the door, hands raised in reluctant surrender. Without taking my eyes off him, I guided him to the threshold, then shoved the door open and pushed him out. The click of the lock behind him was the most satisfying sound I had ever heard. I sank against the counter, finally allowing the adrenaline to ebb. The apartment was silent again, but the quiet was different now. It was mine. The control, at least for the moment, had been reclaimed. I knew this wouldn't erase the betrayal, the lies, the months of deceit. But it marked the beginning of the reckoning. Laura didn't come home that night. When she did, hours later, her confident facade was gone. The smugness, the superiority, the casual disregard for my presence, it all melted into panic and fear. She tried to speak, tried to explain, but I couldn't hear her. Not now. Not ever. Trust, once shattered, cannot be rebuilt on words alone. Actions are the currency. And her actions had already written the ledger. I spent the night alone, reflecting, planning, and understanding a painful truth. Betrayal doesn't just hurt, it awakens something primal. It awakens the clarity to see people for who they really are. And it awakens the strength to reclaim what is yours. My marriage, as I had imagined it, was gone. But what remained was mine to protect, mine to control, and mine to decide how to move forward. The affair partner had underestimated me. Laura had underestimated me. And that, in the end, made all the difference. Some lessons are learned in whispers, some in screams, but the ones learned in the face of betrayal, those stick forever.